At the end of the Tabi'een, there was an individual in Iraq who became prominent as a jurist. His name was Nu'man ibn Thabit, or as we know him, Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa did meet, according to some scholars, some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ as a young man, too young, and narrated nothing from them. He was like at the end of that era. Really, he belonged to the Tabi'in, the next era. And there arose, along with him, another bright star in jurisprudence amongst the next generation, by the name of Malik ibn Anas in Medina, who we refer to as Imam Malik, whose grandfather was a Sahabi. His grandfather was a Sahabi, his father a Tabi'i, and he was a Tabi'i. And at the same time, there arose many other outstanding scholars whose names we don't know about today, like Al-Layth ibn Sa'ad in Egypt, Al-Awza'i, Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla, Sufyan al-Thawri, Abu Thawr, etc., etc. Scholars of the same caliber as Abu Hanifa and Imam Malik. Some names we know, some names we don't know. But anyway, if one asked Abu Hanifa, who for the most part studied under the students of the companions, among his main teachers was Abdurrahman ibn Abi Layla. Abu Layla was a Sahabi. If you ask Abu Hanifa, "Oh Abu Hanifa, Ya Aba Hanifa, ma madhabuk?" What is your madhab? What do you think he's going to say? Ana Hanafi? I'm a Hanafi? No, because he was not forming any madhab. He was not forming a school that people were to follow. In fact, he told his companions, his students, "Do not write down my opinions." He said, "Why not?" "Because I will have an opinion today and change it tomorrow. And the day after I'll change it again. And the day after that I'll change it again. So don't write down my opinion. Instead, take your rulings from where I took it. Go back to the sources." What was the source? As he said, إِذَا صَحَّ الْحَدِيث فَهُوَ مَذْهَبِي. If the hadith proves to be authentic, if that narration from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam proves to be authentic, that is my madhab. So what was the madhab of Abu Hanifa? The madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That was his madhab. Same thing with Imam Malik. If anybody asked him, "What was your madhab?" what do you think he's going to say? "I'm a Maliki"? No. He's going to tell them, "I am following the madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as I learned it from the Tabi'een, who learned it from the Sahaba, who learned it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, following the same madhab as that of the Sahaba and the Tabi'een." That was his position. And that was the position of the scholars of his time. And they studied under whichever of the successors they were able. They didn't have one teacher, they had many teachers. And that's how they studied. Now, one of Imam Malik's students, his name was Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, coming from Gaza, studied under him for 20 plus years until Imam Malik died. Then he left and went to Yemen, and he began to teach. He had memorized the Muwatta of Imam Malik, which is the book of Hadith and rulings of the Sahaba and Tabi'een, which was compiled by Imam Malik, the oldest book of Hadith to have reached us today in existence, the Muwatta of Imam Malik. He had memorized it, and he went to Yemen and taught in Yemen. Whilst he was teaching in Yemen, an accusation was raised. It was said that he had begun to lean towards Shiaism. He had Shiite leanings, because Yemen was at one point a Shiite state. So he was accused of having been influenced by Shiite teachings and was leaning towards Shiaism. So he was arrested and taken to Baghdad, to the Khalifa, before the judges, the chief judges of the Abbasid administration. And he was made to defend himself in court. And he defended himself and proved that he was not a Shiite nor leaning towards Shiite ideas. After that, he was in Baghdad, and Muhammad ibn al-Shaybani, one of the leading students of Imam Abu Hanifa, was a leading judge there. So, Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, he took the opportunity to study under him. He studied under him. After studying under him, he decided to change a number of positions which he held based on what he had learned from Imam Malik. He changed them, and he wrote a book to document his new positions, the new understanding that he had gained from studying under Muhammad al-Shaybani. And the name of that book, he called it Al-Hujjah, the evidence, the proof. Then he decided to go to Egypt to study under Imam al-Layth. Of course, he didn't study under Abu Hanifa in Baghdad because Abu Hanifa was already dead. That's why he studied under his students. So he set off for Egypt to study under Imam al-Layth. However, by the time he got there, Imam al-Layth had already died. So he studied under the students of Imam al-Layth, al-Layth ibn Sa'd. After studying under them, he again changed a number of his rulings. He changed rulings which he had learned studying under Imam Malik, rulings which he had learned studying under the students of Imam Abu Hanifa, and he came up with new rulings, and he documented them in another book which he called Al-Umm. Al-Umm, the essence. Now, Imam al-Shafi'i, he said, after studying under the students of al-Layth, he said his famous statement, Al-Laythu afqahu min Malik. Al-Laythu afqahu min Malik. Imam Layth was a greater jurisprudent than Imam Malik. Now, if you or I said that statement, people would say, who are you? What gives you the authority to say that? But nobody could dispute with Imam al-Shafi'i because he had studied under both of them. And he said Imam al-Layth was a greater jurist than Imam Malik ibn Anas. Isn't that strange?